Can we just start by talking about why everything you've tried before probably hasn't worked the way you expected? See, when estrogen starts declining in your late 30s and 40s, your body undergoes a series of changes that have almost nothing to do with how hard you're working at the gym. Your metabolism slows down because you're losing muscle mass faster than before. Your body becomes less efficient at managing blood sugar, which means more fat storage, particularly around the midsection. Your cortisol sensitivity increases, which means stress, even the stress of intense exercise, can actually make belly fat worse. And your insulin resistance climbs, which makes your body cling to fat rather than burn it. This is why the same approach that worked for you at 28 is completely failing you now. Your hormonal environment has changed, and if you're still exercising like a 28-year-old without addressing those hormonal realities, you're essentially trying to fix a leaking pipe by painting the wall over it. It might look okay for a minute, but the problem is still there. So, the menopause belly fat formula is simple in its logic. Instead of picking exercises by the muscle you want to tone, like most women do, you pick them by the specific hormonal problem you're trying to solve. Let me show you exactly what that looks like. Exercise number 1 is for belly fat, and it's something you've almost certainly done before, just probably not this version of it. It's weighted walking. Now, before you scroll away thinking this sounds too simple, I need you to hear me out, because there is something genuinely powerful happening when you add resistance to walking that doesn't happen with regular walking alone, and it absolutely doesn't happen with running. When you wear a weighted vest, carry dumbbells at your sides, or even throw a loaded backpack on your shoulders, you transform a low-intensity activity into something that simultaneously builds muscle and burns calories at the same time. For women in menopause, this combination is incredibly important. Pure cardio, like jogging, burns calories in the moment, but it doesn't build the muscle tissue that keeps your metabolism elevated throughout the day. And heavy lifting alone, while amazing for muscle building, doesn't give you the sustained low-intensity movement that supports hormonal regulation and reduces cortisol. Weighted walking threads the needle between those two worlds. You're moving your whole body under load, building functional strength, and keeping cortisol levels manageable because you're not spiking your stress hormones the way intense cardio can. Start with just 10 to 15 minutes a few times a week. A light backpack with a few books works if you don't have a vest. The goal is to feel the load without it being so heavy that your form breaks down. This is one of those exercises that looks humble but delivers results that are anything but. Exercise number 2 is for your slow metabolism, and this one is a complete game changer once you experience it. It's dumbbell thrusters, which is a combination of a squat and an overhead press done as one fluid movement. You hold a dumbbell in each hand at shoulder height, you squat down, and as you drive back up, you press the dumbbells overhead. Then you bring them back down and go straight into the next rep. It looks simple, but don't let that fool you. Here's why this matters so much for menopause metabolism. When your estrogen drops, you lose muscle tissue at an accelerated rate. Muscle is metabolically expensive, meaning the more you have, the more calories your body burns just to maintain itself. When you lose muscle, your metabolic rate drops, which is why women in their 40s often find they're eating the same amount they always have, but gaining weight anyway. The dumbbell thruster fights back against this by recruiting almost every major muscle group in your body simultaneously. Your legs, glutes, core, shoulders, arms, and upper back are all working together in a single movement. That's a massive metabolic demand on your system. Your body has to work hard to perform the exercise and then work even harder to recover from it. This creates what's called an afterburn effect, where your metabolism stays elevated for hours after your workout ends. 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps twice a week, and you are genuinely doing something meaningful for your metabolic rate. Start with lighter dumbbells than you think you need. Form matters more than weight here, especially in the beginning. Exercise number 3 targets what I personally find the most frustrating aspect of menopause, which is the hormonal belly fat that just sits there no matter what you do. This exercise is interval stair climbing, and I want to be specific about the word interval here because that's the key. You're not just walking upstairs at a steady pace, you're alternating between bursts of harder effort and periods of active recovery. So you might go fast up a flight, walk down slowly, go fast up the next flight, recover again, and repeat that pattern for 15 to 20 minutes. Why does this work for hormonal belly fat specifically? One of the biggest drivers of menopause belly fat is insulin resistance. As estrogen declines, your cells become less responsive to insulin, so your body pumps out more of it. And high insulin is essentially a fat storage signal. The specific type of effort that interval training demands is one of the most powerful tools we have for improving insulin sensitivity. When you push hard for short bursts, your muscles act like glucose sponges, pulling sugar out of your bloodstream to fuel the effort. Over time, with consistent practice, this trains your cells to respond to insulin more efficiently, which means your body stops storing so much of what you eat as fat. Stairs are particularly effective because they require you to push against resistance with every step, which engages your glutes, hamstrings, and calves more deeply than flat walking or even running. If you have stairs at home, a local park, or a gym with a stair climber machine, you have everything you need for this one. Now, I have to stop you here for a second because we just talked about insulin, and this is the most important thing I will say in the entire video. Notice the whole logic of this formula. You match the tool to the hormonal problem. Well, for the insulin problem specifically, there is a lever far more powerful than any exercise on this list, and it is not an exercise at all. It is your plate. Interval stairs help your cells respond to insulin better, and that is real. But insulin is released in response to what you eat. So if every meal is built around refined carbs that spike your blood sugar, you are pumping out insulin all day long, and no amount of stair climbing fully outruns that. The single biggest lever on insulin, on blood sugar, on whether your body stores fat or burns it, is what sits on your fork. And for a menopausal body, the eating pattern that keeps insulin lowest is the one built around protein. This is the reason why we created the Menopause Protein Bundle. It is the plate side of this whole formula. The lever exercise alone cannot pull. Done for you, high-protein meals built for a body after 40. Breakfasts, lunches, and dinners designed to keep your insulin low and your blood sugar steady all day, so your cells are not drowning in that fat storage signal in the first place. And yes, even desserts and smoothies that satisfy a craving without the spike. Every recipe is ready in about 10 minutes, there is nothing to track and nothing to count, and every one works on the exact hormonal problem this exercise targets, just from the other direction. You just open it and cook. So please check out the link in the description, because this could be the moment you finally close the gap that has kept your effort from paying off. The moment your workouts and your meals start pulling in the same direction, and your body finally starts letting go of the belly fat it has been holding onto for years. Exercise number 4 is for muscle loss, and I cannot stress enough how central this is to everything we've been talking about. It's the Romanian deadlift, and it is one of the most effective exercises you can do for your body as a woman over 40. Here's how it works. You hold a pair of dumbbells or a barbell in front of your thighs, and with a slight bend in your knees and a flat back, you hinge at the hips and lower the weight down the front of your legs until you feel a deep stretch in your hamstrings. Then you drive your hips forward to return to standing. This movement targets the largest muscle groups in your entire body. Your hamstrings, glutes, and lower back are enormous muscles, and when you train them consistently, the impact on your overall muscle mass and metabolic health is substantial. Remember, we established that muscle loss is at the root of a declining metabolism during menopause. The Romanian deadlift directly attacks that problem by loading those large muscles with meaningful resistance. Strong glutes and hamstrings also protect your lower back, improve your posture, and support your joints as you age, which means this exercise is doing multiple jobs at once. The key is the hip hinge. Many women aren't used to loading their hamstrings this way, so it's worth spending a few sessions just practicing the movement with no weight or very light weight before adding load. Once the pattern clicks, though, this exercise becomes one of those foundational movements you come back to again and again. Exercise number 5 is for something that often gets overlooked in conversations about menopause fitness, and that's posture. As we age, the natural changes to our spinal structure, combined with years of sitting at desks and looking at phones, mean that our posture gradually degrades. This isn't just an aesthetic issue. Poor posture changes how your core muscles function, affects your breathing, and even influences how your body carries and stores fat around your midsection. The exercise that addresses all of this in one shot is the farmer carry. The farmer carry is as simple as it sounds. You pick up a heavy weight in each hand, dumbbells, kettlebells, or even weighted grocery bags work, and you walk. That's it. But what's happening inside your body when you do this is remarkable. Your core is bracing constantly to stabilize your spine against the load. Your shoulders are working to keep the weights from pulling you sideways. Your grip strength is being challenged. Your posture is being trained in real time, because if you let yourself slouch under the weight, the load immediately becomes harder to manage. And your balance is being tested with every step. You're essentially training strength, posture, core stability, and balance simultaneously, all while walking, which is a natural and low-stress movement pattern. For women in menopause, the farmer carry also has a secondary benefit that I love. It builds confidence. There is something deeply empowering about picking up heavy things and carrying them. It changes how you feel in your body. It changes how you stand and move through the world. Start with a weight that feels challenging but manageable for 30 to 40 feet of walking. As your grip and core get stronger, increase the weight gradually. Now, I want to bring this all together for you in a way that makes it actionable. These 5 exercises are not random. They are specifically designed to address the 5 core problems that menopause creates in a woman's body. Weighted walking targets belly fat by combining muscle building and calorie burning without spiking cortisol. Dumbbell thrusters fight the metabolic slowdown by recruiting almost every muscle in your body and creating a sustained afterburn effect. Interval stair climbing attacks hormonal belly fat by improving insulin sensitivity at a cellular level. Romanian deadlifts combat muscle loss by loading the largest muscle groups in your body, and farmer carries restore the posture and core function that aging gradually erodes. You don't need to do all 5 in a single workout. In fact, I'd encourage you not to. 2 or 3 of these per session, 2 to 3 times a week, is more than enough to create real change without overwhelming your recovery. One of the biggest mistakes I see women in our age group make is thinking more is always better. For our hormonal environment, recovery is just as important as the work itself. Your body adapts and gets stronger during rest, not during the workout. So give yourself permission to keep the sessions focused and the recovery intentional. I also want to address something that comes up almost every time I talk about this. Some of you are going to watch this and think, this sounds good, but I've tried things before and they haven't worked. I hear that, and I want to offer you a different perspective. The reason previous approaches didn't work was almost certainly not a lack of effort on your part. It was a mismatch between the exercise and your hormonal reality. You were trying to fight menopause biology with fitness advice designed for a different hormonal environment entirely. That's not a failure of your willpower or your dedication. That's a failure of the information you were given. This framework is different because it starts with where your body actually is, not where it was 15 years ago.